So I left a 6-figure opportunity just because I believed in myself.
This is Andrew Diaz. At 19, he was making over $100,000 per year as a car salesman, but he left that all behind after realizing he would be stuck renting his time for money if nothing changed.
I blinked and I had a lot of money in the account, but I missed birthdays, anniversaries, funerals, weddings, anything you can name, I missed it. So I really had no freedom over my time.
Today, Andrew joins us with Josh, who quit his job cleaning chimneys only 6 months ago.
I want to be $1 million producer this year.
Do you really?
Yeah,
You're going
I
for
do.
the million?
I am, yeah. I'm a little bit behind right now. I definitely need, but again, I just need to improve throughout the year. I think it's doable.
In this episode, we'll uncover how Josh and Andrew are dominating insurance, the mindset shift that they both use to instantly increase their close rates, and dive into their untapped sales systems they use to print money on the phones. So dude, 67K in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, 2 weeks.
Will
yeah.
this be your biggest month?
Yes, it will be. Yeah, definitely.
Got it. So what were you doing before this?
I was blue collar, so I worked for my township. I did maintenance. And then before that, I was a chimney sweep. So I cleaned chimneys.
You were cleaning chimneys?
Yeah.
You're like Santa Claus, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy. I just have this picture of you like just like all black, like stuff all
That's
over.
exactly,
Is that what it looked like?
That's exactly what it looked like. Yeah.
And so how do you find Family First Life?
So actually, I went to this gym in New Jersey. It's called Iron Revolution, and it's like a really well-known gym in New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually an hour from my house. Like I would drive there back and forth, just
It's a long
because.
drive, dude.
Yeah, just because of how good the gym was. And then I remember it was like perfect timing in my life because it got to the point where I was like, I really wanted to do something more.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like running out of ideas. I was trying a bunch of different things like outside of my job.
What were you trying?
I would refinish furniture. Obviously tried like drop shipping, stuff like that. Clothing brands, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I even got to the point where I was going to invest into real estate too. And that was like right before. And then that ended up not working out. And then it was like perfect timing. I was at a point in my life where I was like, I didn't know what to do. And then I went to the gym. It was a Monday morning. And I saw, Dylan Smith, Smooth Finance.
Yeah.
I would always see his Instagram, and I always saw that he was in the gym, and he came up to me that morning. And like, it was crazy. We talk about it all the time. Like, he would never go at that time. I would never go because I took off work to go to the beach with my sister and stop there beforehand.
Yeah.
And he came up to me and like we had like a small conversation. He was obviously trying to recruit me, but the conversation just ended. We just got each other's Instagram. That was it. But like for me, I was really trying to make a change in my life at like that point in time. Like I was really just like sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I was working out for like 20 minutes. And I just kept thinking about it. I was like, man, I got to go back up to this kid and like really ask what he does. And then
Did you?
Yeah, I went back up to him and I was like, yo, like, what do you do? Like, what is it that you do? And he was like, I sell life insurance. And I was like, obviously I had no idea what that looked like.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, we have an office. It's right next door. And he brought me over to the office, showed me everything.
That day?
That day.
So y'all left the gym.
Left the gym mid-workout.
That's amazing.
Went to the office.
That's a great recruiting tool. I wish
Yeah.
my office was located right next to a gym.
Yeah.
That'd be freaking...
We're neighbors with the best gym in New Jersey.
Yeah.
So, and then, at that point, set up a meeting with him to like go over everything. And then that was it. I was actually part-time for 2 months before I went full-time.
Okay, sweet. Well, dude, that's a crazy story. I mean, it's just cool to see like the divine timing because you weren't supposed to be there. He wasn't supposed to be there. And like, it's just been cool. Like with my relationship with my faith in God, I didn't realize, it took me a long time to realize God was real. But when I started looking back in my life and seeing how often he showed up and his hand was over my life is when I started realizing there's something bigger than me out there. And that was a cool thing. And a piece of my testimony is I got introduced to FFL because all the doors in my life had shut. And it was the first time that I had no other option except to look up. I was like, if there is a God, I believed in God. I just didn't know like what or, etc. And so I was like, hey, give me a billboard sign that says Wiley Hawkins do this. And then I get a phone call 5 minutes later that introduces me to FFL. I get started, get shepherded into my faith, have a ton of success. And God just worked through this company to get me here. Yeah. So it's cool, dude. And obviously God's got a big plan and big purpose for you. Yeah. Which I'm pumped for, man. Yeah. All right. So Josh, we got the beginning of your story. How about you, Andrew?
Yeah. So basically, I started in car sales. I had a successful career in it, but I made a lot of money, but I didn't have any time. So like I was just telling Josh last night, like I blinked and I had a lot of money in the account, but I missed birthdays, anniversaries, funerals, weddings, anything you can name, I missed it. So I really had no freedom over my time. And at the end of the day, money's just a tool. It's not something that we can actually use for life, Yeah. So
that's good. You want to know something? So before I started with FFL, I drove from Colorado. That's where I grew up. I drove from Colorado down to Scottsdale, Arizona, and I interviewed at like one of the best BMW car dealerships in the whole United States. And they put me through this thing called a gauntlet. So it was 8 interviews with each different manager.
That's a lot.
And you have to get a yes from each one. And so I'm like sweating bullets. I'm on like the 6th guy. I'm just hoping this goes well. And so I get done and I feel really strong about my performance during the interviews. I'm like, you know what? I think it's time for a nice cold lemonade because I've been just in this gauntlet for the last couple hours. So I go to Chick-fil-A and I remember I was rolling down my window and it was 122 degrees. Oh, man. And I asked the guy that was handing me my lemonade, I said, how often is it this hot? And he's like, bro, this is pretty much all summer. And 5 minutes later, I get a phone call from the GM. And he's like, congratulations, Wiley. Like, you got the job. Like, what do you say? And I don't think he was expecting me to say no. And I was like, no, bro. Yeah. And the only reason I said no is because it was so dang hot in Scottsdale, Arizona. And I wasn't willing to do that, being a Colorado boy. And then I talked to one of my dad's good buddies who sold cars and he sold insurance. He's like the salesman of salesmen. He's done it all. I said, between insurance and car sales, what are the big differences? And he said, both, you can make a lot of money. He said, with car sales, though, you don't have a life. Yeah. He's like, with insurance, your first 18 months to 2, even 3 years in, you do have to sacrifice a lot, but you have residuals. You can build a team. You can build a book. You can exit it, and it's your own. He's Absolutely. Like, but you sell your life to the dealership. Did you feel the same?
I felt the exact same way. There's 2 major differences I saw. One is the scalability of the insurance, and 2, like you said, ownership. So I would do, like, I've done over millions of dollars in transactions for cars, but I didn't own anything. So at the end of the day, if, let's say, God forbid, anything were to happen to my body, I would have to rely on the money that I'm making. Compared to here, you could build a team. You got residuals, everything you touched on. So you could you have something to fall back onto. You know what I mean? Yeah. God forbid anything were to happen. But if you want to keep running with it, you could scale it way quicker than a car career. It's pretty linear the way that is.
Yeah, and I also think there's a really hard ceiling in the car space that I've seen. Is you can go and make 500, 600,000, but that's going to take a handful of years to get to. Yeah. And then once you get there, it's still like you've sold your whole life to get there, and then you still have to work the same amount of hours. Right. Based on all the stories that I've, heard. So, yeah. All right, you were selling cars. Were you making good money?
Yeah, I mean, first year at 19 years old, 6 figures. Like nice. It was constantly going up, but I realized early on that money's not everything. So I just wanted my life back. And then my friend Gabe, he was also working with me. His friend wrote him a bad IUL. At the time, I didn't even know what an IUL was, but hearing what the concept of it kind of like consumed my mind. Like I was very curious about what an IUL was. And so what we did, I heard about this guy that my other friend knew, and we went to the office to go check it out, see how to properly structure. That guy's name was Dylan. So after that, I'm just looking around, and he's like, yeah, this guy's making this guy's making that. And I was just looking around at what everyone was doing, and I was like, this is very replicatable. I see the way everyone's dressed, they're comfortable. And I just see the community too. A lot of young people in one area all going towards the same mission. In the car industry, I was the youngest always. And then when I got there, I was the oldest. At 21 years old, I was the oldest. So it's something I really like. So then just from there, I had 2 days being in the office, just looking at it, I just left. So I left this 6-figure opportunity just because I believed in myself. And then there was 2 people that, besides Dylan, 2 people that I really looked up to the second I got in, and that was Josh and Gino. And I just saw the way they worked. Not only that, it took about 3 weeks to onboard. And in those 3 weeks, I saw how fast they elevated their lives just by putting the work in to make that happen. Just like that.
So, all right, Josh and Gino, was it the numbers that you were attracted to? Was it their character? Was it their work ethic? Like, what stood out about those 2?
So, obviously, the numbers is up there, but it's not number 1. I would say it was just the relentlessness. The one thing they told me, so we had something called the Vault, which I'm sure you're familiar with. It's basically just a bunch of aged leads. So the way they told me in my introduction to the business was you have to fall in love with the Vault. And they're basically saying, like, you have to fall in love with saying no or getting told no and just dealing with failure. And then when I went in with that mindset, I closed 2 deals in my first 3 days just because they told me that. And I was going in with that mindset.
Dude, you know what's crazy, bro, is like, that's so good that you gave him that advice. Because if you don't give people the right expectations in life, then that's when they're going to be turned away, mad, sad, whatever it is. So, for example, if every single day you know that there's traffic at 5 o'clock, are you going to be mad when you see the traffic? No. But if I told you, hey, the highway's clear, you're going to get home in 15 minutes, and instead it's a 33-minute drive home, you're going to be like, what the hell?
Yeah.
It's because the expectation has changed. And so the way that you spoke life into the Vault, then it built his mindset, and then you're able to go and crush 2 deals, you said?
Yeah, 2 of my first 3, and then from there kind of just scaled up.
Yeah. That's huge, dude. I mean, that's like, I just want to echo that point, because you can speak life into people and to things, or you can destroy people through the power of your tongue, right? Yeah. So good on you, bro.
Yeah.
So when you did you use the Vault?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
What were you able to do off of the free leads? And when you were part-time, right?
I was part-time. I don't remember an exact number, but like for an example, like it always takes one person. We all know it could take one client to change everything. Mm-hmm. But there was a time in the Vault, and I remember it came at a low time because I hadn't closed in a little while. And specifically, I was with Gino at the time. And I was like, in the next 10 numbers, I'm going to close someone in the Vault. And it was like 3 numbers in, I got this guy on the phone. And in total, it was like $13,000 in annual premium.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Huge, dude.
Yeah.
Off of free leads?
Yeah, off of free leads.
Insane.
Yeah. But yeah, I would say like definitely overall, I even part-time, like I was doing like at least $10,000 the first 2 months.
So on the free lead program, how much were you able to see in deposits, would you say?
I think it was around like 25 grand.
That is insane, bro.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Absolutely ridiculous.
It's so hard for us to scale in the beginning of this journey because we had no free lead program. Mm-hmm. We were in the field. We had to convince guys to travel and drive hours or to get flights and to fly to different states.
Yeah.
And then the leads were $65 a pop. And we were like, yeah, dude, just max out your credit card, get another credit card.
Yeah.
And then they go and they bagel or they only sell a couple deals. And we're like, oh, yeah, go and max out your credit card again. And they're like, no. And now the system that has been built and that has been set up is just, it's so amazing. But it's cool that you guys take advantage of it because we have plenty of people that are inside the free lead program that they don't do the numbers, like they're not even close to doing the same numbers as both of you guys.
Yeah.
And so it's cool that you're taking advantage of that. And I like how you're manifesting the sale. You're like, hey, in these next 10 numbers, I'm going to get a sale. Because if you said, all right, dude, so I think I've said this a couple of times on the podcast, but this is your first time tuning in. This will be good. There was an experiment done, and there's 3 different testing groups. And the 3 testing groups are shooting free throws. Mm-hmm. So the first group, they actually practice 50 shots a day. The second group, they do literally nothing. They just carry on with their life. And then the third group, every single day, they envision a perfect form, a perfect swish into the hoop, but they never actually touch the ball. Which group do you think did the best?
Well, I'm assuming the answer is the third group.
That's yeah. I mean, that's a good guess. So the first group, the one that actually practiced, they do the best. But the third group that envisioned it was 1% lower than the ones actually doing the rep. Yeah. And so imagine you do the rep and you envision it at the same time.
Yeah.
I would want to see what that group, how well they do.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so it just goes to show the power of the mind and how intentional you can be.
Yeah. I remember in my first 3 weeks, I watched Josh call out twice. He was like, I'm closing this next one. Closed it right after.
Yeah.
And like that was just, it was a big mindset tweak to me because like my first month, I didn't leave his side. I was stuck on him. And it was for a reason. Like I think it's very important to try to emulate someone that's in a position that you want to be in. And manifestation is such a huge step to success.
Yeah, dude. It really is.
Yeah.
Okay, so sweet. So when did you start seeing an uptick in your sales? Because you're doing massive numbers now.
Yeah.
But it sounds like it wasn't always like that.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, my first month full-time, like it's obviously not comparable to what I'm doing now. But I've been talking with a lot of people recently about this. And I think the biggest thing that took me to the next level was having full belief in the product. Because when I first started, I remember specifically, like, my dad needed a policy. And I felt weird, like, providing my dad, like, the service to get the policy. I don't know why. And then someone came up to me and was like, well, do you fully believe that it's a good product? And I thought about it, and I was like, I think maybe he's right. Like, maybe I'm not at the point yet where I fully, believe how good the product is. So then, I obviously did all my research and everything like that and realized how much people actually need this. And then once I did that, go ahead.
Did you find any convincing like data, or did you have a story that happened to you that?
It was more so other people's personal experience with it, like whether it be in regards to their family. Like I talked to a lot of people about it, and like I heard some really crazy stories, and like also thought about what it would look like for me if I wasn't in a financial position to cover my parents' funeral if they passed away. Mm-hmm. And that absolutely changed everything for me. Because now that I had full belief in the product, I tell this to everyone too, is when I get objections on the phone, I'm not like thinking of what to say. It all comes naturally and it's all genuine because I'm just trying to put the client in a better position.
Yeah.
And I think that's what ended up actually truly changing everything.
Dude, that makes so much sense why you're selling at the level you're selling at.
Yeah.
Genuinely, because my biggest month was 87K, and that month, I remember it was like 2 months before, I had a handful of death claims. And so I remember talking to the spouse, talking to the kids, and sending the money their way. Mm-hmm. And just like, dude, literally the tears, but also how thankful they were. And I remembered each and every situation. And so like you were saying, when I was in a home, when I sat down with somebody, there was no way under the sun they weren't getting a policy unless they genuinely didn't need it, which never happens. Yeah. And so I think that's so amazing because, like, dude, it's just a transfer of energy, but on top of that, it's a transfer of belief.
Exactly.
If you believe in it, that belief will just seep through and they'll be like, yeah, you're right. Because they can hear your tone, they can hear your voice, and you're also not scared to stand up for them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, the real question is, did you help your dad with the policy?
I did. Yeah, I got my dad policy. Yeah, I did. Yeah, definitely.
That's awesome. And so you would say that's been a big reason why you're having these large months.
I would say so. Yeah, definitely. And just like blocking out all the noise and just focusing on my own improvement, I think has been a big thing too. And just like staying consistent and not really like changing what I'm doing, just getting in a routine and doing the same thing as long as I'm improving every day.
Yeah. So if I asked you guys, like, what are the things you never miss on a daily basis? What are those things?
I'll go first.
Showing up on time at first, because
What's on time?
Well, about 9:30 every day, in New Jersey, and then because that's how you set up your day correctly, and then just always having a set dial time. Back office, I think a big thing is don't do back office while you're dialing, because you could save it for the after hours. You want to maximize all your dialing hours. The gym is big too. We've been talking about it. It's pretty hard to find a balance with this life, especially if you dedicate all your hours to dialing. So like honestly, that's something I've been struggling with. Like it's something I want to get better at.
Yeah. I like what you said there, because a lot of people don't understand, like, these are money making hours right now. Mm-hmm. And so it's not time to do laundry. It's not time to do the dishes, bro. It's not time to run errands, get your oil checked. It's like you do those on the days, like on a Saturday. You do that at night. You handle those obligations outside of money making hours. Mm-hmm. So I think that's good. Yeah. Mm-hmm. What about for you?
I think the biggest thing, I heard it from Tanner Mendelsohn, is like minimum 12 hours of dialing time a day.
Yeah.
Especially in the beginning. Like that was one of the things that I followed the most, like 9 to 9 dialing at the minimum.
How did you keep your focus? For example, I was talking to a guy right outside the doors here, and he was telling me, he's like, I have a really hard time sitting and staring at the leads and dialing. What's helped you?
I would say the biggest thing for me is having the thought of my long-term vision. Someone actually said this in one of your trainings. Mm-hmm. Like focus on your long-term vision and not the short-term obstacles. And that really stuck with me. So like whenever it came down to a point where like I felt like I was getting distracted, I always just thought in the back of my head how important this is to me. And if I am getting distracted, how much it's going to interrupt my long-term vision, like long-term. So for me, it was always just like really at the end of the day being like, I have goals that I want to reach, and they are very, very important to me. And I can't let me getting distracted get in the way of that. So that's, kind of the mindset that I had.
What is your long-term vision?
My long-term vision, I mean, essentially my goal has always been to put my family in a better financial position than I was growing up, to give them the opportunity to like really pursue their goals and aspirations. Like that's always that. I feel like, I guess that's essentially my why.
Yeah.
And to do that, obviously, I did I made all this money. I did all this business already, but like if I were to stop now, it wouldn't change anything. So I'm nowhere near close to where I need to be.
Yeah. Someone asked me, they said, if you wound up in a wheelchair, would you be able to pay all your bills? And this was 4 years ago, 4.5. And my answer was no.
Yeah.
And he's like, until you can answer yes, you can, you're not financially free.
That's very true.
I was like, dang. Yeah. And now, thank you, God, I'm not in a wheelchair. But I can definitely say if I were to get sick or something happened, that all my bills would be paid for a really long time because of the business that we've built. And so it's a really refreshing feeling, And then you can start working on other aspects to do. When you're in survival mode, you're in survival mode. Like it's hard to think about anything else except just flat out paying your bills, surviving. And I think now, ever since like I've been able to have the luxury of spending more time with myself and figuring out like what my purpose is, really like walking on this earth. But like my relationship with money has been interesting. I think we always want to hit 10,000, then do 20,000, then do 50, and then we keep moving the needle. But you guys will see it comes a point to you hit it and you're like, all right, well, what's next? Like, yeah, I could hit the next number, but like, what is truly next? And so I spend a lot of time thinking about where am I supposed to go and what is my purpose? Because I attach my purpose to income instead of impact. And then when I started realizing that my purpose is to have impact in people's lives, that's when I was like, dude, I could do this thing forever.
When did you start realizing that?
Like, dude, I would say pretty recently. Like, I would say like the last 18 months.
Yeah.
You know, because I 100% want you guys to make all the money in the world. But once you guys make 20,000 or 30,000, which is enough to pay all your bills, to take care of your family, and to have some fun items you want, every number after that is really, it's just bonus. But you spend so much time chasing the next number, and that's because you're chasing the accolade, you're chasing the status, you're chasing the pride, and you realize that that is all hollow and it's all empty, but you run so fast after that, and then when you grab it, you look down and you're like, wow, it's called a chasing after the wind. I just chased air. Vanities of vanities. It slips through your hands. And so, dude, I did that for 6 years, and then like I had it all, bro. I had a home for my mother, an amazing business, amazing friends. I mean, you name it, but I couldn't enjoy it all. And then I just was seeking after God, and I was like, I will chase you more than rubies and gold, and I'll do anything that I can to figure out why I'm here. And then God just slowly started revealing to me, hey, when you prayed 6 years ago to get into this business, it wasn't just to provide you financial freedom. It was also so that you can take your influence and the talents I've given you and help build the next man into what I want him to be. And I was like, cool. And it's like, what an honor and what a gift. And it's like, I get to do that. And then alongside it, make money at the same time. It's like, what a blessing.
Yeah.
You know? So I think that's been just amazing.
And do you think you've found more success within the last 18 months on top of that?
100%.
Yeah.
I think what I found is more fulfillment in the day-to-day. Because I think there's days where it is mundane, but just because like you're reminded of your vision or your why, and so like my why is you guys. It's just making sure you guys get to experience the same lifestyle that I have, the same gifts that I have, and yeah, dude, I've seen a lot more success now. But it's not even like necessarily like the money's just like through the roof. Like money's good, but it's just like the quality of life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is awesome. What have you guys seen here so far in Austin after spending 2 or 3 days, you know, with the guys and hanging out?
I've seen a lot of like-minded individuals. As a young man that's very ambitious, it's good to be surrounded by that and have a lot of competition. A lot of the top performers in this industry are athletes, or they come from a competitive background. Yep. So to be surrounded by that, it's huge.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say the same thing. One of the reasons why I really wanted to come out here in the first place is when Noah and Dan Attilas came back, and they were just explaining to me like how the culture here is more about like building yourself as a man or a human, and not really just only solely focused on getting, you know, more sales or making more money. And that aspect of this like really like made me want to come out here and experience that. I can definitely say it is true. Like the you guys are very genuine, and like you have such a great culture here.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
That's something too, because we come from the tri-state where people could be standoffish.
Yeah,
here just everyone's smiling. Like you could approach anyone. You know, it's like you don't even have to think about not being able to approach people. You know, it's very easy to talk to people.
Yeah, it's definitely like people will give you the cold shoulder over there. I noticed it. I was in New York with my mom. We were walking around, and like, dude, like I'm a pretty outgoing guy, and I was in a good mood. And I remember I saw this one dude. He had like a dope hat on or something. I was like, yo, man, like. He looked at me like I had fangs. Like he looked at me like I was crazy. I was like, hey man, like nice hat. And he literally looked at me like, don't ever talk to me.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
It's crazy.
You know, but most people in that, like for me, I always associate that with they're in survival.
Yeah.
Like they've either been robbed, someone's hurt them. They're usually always on defense. And I think that's where, like, here, of course, in the office, it stands true. But also, like, in Austin, Texas, is like, dude, no one's, like, breaking into your homes. No one's, like, robbing you. Like, it's such a safe, great area. And, like, we have the luxury of being in here. So it's truly a blessing.
Yeah.
All right. So now flipping it, I want to start going into the conversation of your guys' sales process and spend some time in there. So if I asked you, Andrew, what are the 2 or 3 things that stand out with Gino's sales process, what would you say?
With Gino's sales process?
Or excuse me, with Josh's sales process. I'm sorry, Josh.
I would say building the why is huge, and intentionality. I think those are the 2 biggest words that he always uses. You just have to really. When I first started, I thought making it down the script was the accomplishment, but I realized early on that you can't continue down the script until you really have the why built, because you're just wasting your time.
Amen, bro. I'm glad. You guys know the fundamentals really well, dude. All right, let's go through a role play, all right?
Okay.
Just what's your opening question with the why?
With the why, it's asking who the beneficiary is,
let's just do it.
Yeah,
I'll be like 64.
Okay.
It's just gonna be me. What do you sell mainly?
Veteran. Yeah.
And then would you say most of your vets are married or not married?
Most of them are married.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want me to be a married vet?
Yeah, we'll do that.
All right, let's go.
All right. Hey, Wiley.
Yeah, ring. Who's this?
Hey, it's Josh Gaynor with Family First. How are you?
I'm doing all right.
Good to hear. So this call, it's in regards to that request you submitted for the new final expense and life options for veterans. And just to confirm, I have your date of birth as May 17th, 2000, correct?
Yeah. Quick question. Dude, when you say family first, do you ever get pushback there?
Yes,
What do people say?
They're like, what is family first?
And what do you tell them?
I just go, I like do a little bit of a laugh, and I'm like, yeah, this call is just in regards to that request you submitted.
So you just ignore it.
And
I
it
love that.
always
all right,
works.
so keep going. So I'm like, all right, what's family first?
So again, I'm just calling you in regards to that request you submitted for the new final expense and life options for veterans. And I have your date of birth listed here as May 17th, 2000, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right.
Okay, gotcha. And your main concern is just wanting to make sure that your funeral expenses don't fall a burden onto your loved ones, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I have a policy set up,
Mm-hmm.
so that's taken care of.
Okay, I gotcha. And the policy that you currently have, was that set up specifically for a burial or cremation?
Yeah, we got it like 3 years ago.
3 years ago. So when you filled out this request, were you just looking to leave some extra behind to your loved ones as well?
Yeah, hopefully if I can fit it in my budget, that'd be ideal.
I gotcha.
How much is this stuff?
Okay, so the process that we do is I just need to spend a little bit on your health just to make sure this is something that we can get you approved for and actually get the coverage in place. And my job is just to find which carrier is going to give you the lowest rate considering your health and your age. All right. Now, God forbid, if you were to pass away, who would be the beneficiary that would be responsible for receiving the legacy fund that you're looking to leave behind?
It would definitely be my wife.
Okay, I gotcha. And how long have you been married for?
We've been married 22 years.
22 years, really? That's almost as old as I am.
Yeah, it's been a long time, but it's been great, man.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. And what's your wife's name?
Maria.
Maria. Gotcha. And again, your goal here today is just to put Maria in a financial position where she won't have to worry about anything, God forbid, if something were to happen to you.
Yeah,
correct?
that is my goal.
Okay, I gotcha. All right. So what we'll do is, and then I would go on from there.
And then, so are you going deeper into the why there?
I would, at that point, since it's a legacy that he's looking to leave behind, I would dig into the why mostly in the finances.
That's what I was thinking. Okay,
Yeah.
because would you be figuring out how much he makes, how much she makes,
If there's a mortgage.
what bills are?
Yeah, because at that point, yes, we have he's looking to try to leave a legacy behind. That's the reason. Electra says there's a difference between a reason and a why. Now, the reason is he wants to leave a legacy, but we don't have the why yet. Now, I would find the why in the finances.
Inventory, yeah.
So the why would be what he's specifically looking to leave the legacy behind for.
Okay, so let's just do this. So let's say I'm making 4,000.
Mm-hmm.
She's making 2,200,
Mm-hmm.
or call it 2,800,
Mm-hmm.
and the bills are 3K.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
Work from there.
okay, I gotcha.
So 4,000. She's making 3. Call it 3.
Yep.
Or what did I say? 2,800.
2,800.
And then the bills are 3.
Yeah. So I would break that down in the finances, and then as soon as I find that out, I'd be okay. I got you. So I'm assuming the reason why you're looking to leave this legacy behind is to put your wife in a better financial situation, so she's not scrambling when you pass away and trying to figure out how to pay all these bills, because it seems to me that, you know, your wife wouldn't have as much of an income if you were to pass away, correct?
Yeah, she wouldn't.
Okay, I gotcha. And then I would move on from there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that's good enough, and then just keep on bringing it up throughout the rest of the presentation.
Yeah, what I noticed is a lot of agents will just get surface level answers, and then they have surface level results.
Yeah.
And so I like how you get your footing down in terms of what is the reason why we're here and why we're talking, which is I want to leave a legacy, I want to leave some extra.
Yeah.
Awesome. You don't dive too deep into it, and then you go and you collect all the information you need to truly build a why.
Yeah.
Because for me, like when I see that, when I was in the field, we would actually write down their income on the back of a paper. And if you have the guy that makes $4,000 a month, that's $48K on the year. So essentially, the wife loses $50,000 a year.
Yeah.
So 3 years of not having him around, that's $150K.
Yeah.
5 years, $250K.
Yeah.
And so then I'm like, hey, your bills are $3,000. We both know there's going to bump up. Your income, it doesn't sound like, is bumping up. So where do you plan on living? What does your lifestyle look like? Are you willing to move in with your sister? And you take the information that they've given you, and then you stand on that and you build the why from there, because it's so hard for the client to fight back and say, well, I need to think about it, or I don't know if this fits in the budget. It's like, I have your budget. We've also discussed that you don't want to leave your wife in this type of situation. So did I miss something? Because there's nothing we should think about, only which option we need to put in place.
And that also too is if that objection comes up. But if you do everything correctly and you say all the things that you said, they won't give you those objections later in the phone call.
What I also noticed is your tone. The same way that you're talking to me now, is that how you speak to the clients on the phone?
Most of the time, yeah.
Really calm.
Yeah.
He's very calm.
Yeah. Most of the time, yeah.
That's solid.
Yeah.
And then when you get down to numbers and you're going into the application, how are you getting in front of, actually, I was asking Noah this. I said, what is Josh doing that I should spotlight? And he said that you're really good at getting the effective dates to where you want them, because you're doing huge numbers.
Yeah.
You're going to be pushing almost 100K this month. You think you'll hit 100 this month?
I think I'll be close to it. I'm not sure if I'll hit it, though. I'm hoping I do, though.
So you have to balance the effective dates and when these policies are coming out.
Yes.
What does that look like with the client on the phone?
So it obviously depends on what time of the month it is, obviously, and it also depends on their financial situation too, because...
So when do you go for an immediate draft?
If they are left over with a lot of money and it's something that's very, very comfortable for them, and it's not like, let's say I'm calling them at the end of the month and they receive their Social Security or disability on the first of the month, then I wouldn't do it. But like, let's say it's the 15th or like earlier on and it's comfortable for them. The word track, again, let's
hear it.
It comes from Electra. Electra actually taught me this word track. Unfortunately, it does take 48 hours for the policy to fully process. So you will not be protected for the first 48 hours. Is that okay for you? And then they'll say, yes, that's fine.
Does anyone ever say no?
Yeah, I get no's, and that's perfectly fine because, again, they're just not comfortable at paying it at that time, and then we just align it with their, like, the worst.
So you're saying that to see, like, where their urgency is?
Yeah, and or, like, a lot of the times, like, really, they can't, it's at a time where they already spent what they got from their benefits, and they truly can't be paying it at this point in time. They have to wait till they get their Social Security or disability or whatever it is. And that's perfectly fine. Then I'll be like, all right, got you. So you want to just align this when you receive your benefits.
Okay, so you're saying that line of, hey, this isn't, what did you say, processed?
So it does take 48 hours for the policy to fully process and go through. So you will not be protected for the first 48 hours. Now, is that okay with you? And then they'll say yes. And then I'll say, okay, now is the reoccurring date okay for every 15th of the month? And then they'll say yes. And that's usually my word track, instead of, asking them for permission to have it go into effect immediately. You assume already that they want it to go into effect, but unfortunately it does take 48 hours to process, so they will not be able to be protected for the first 48 hours.
And then so you would call it, let's say you dialed someone, it's the 10th of the month, you say that line. Mm-hmm. That means you're setting up the day to come out the 12th. Essentially, yeah. And then do you let them know that that's the reoccurring date, or are you changing that with them?
I let them know it's the reoccurring date. Or that's when I'll ask. I'll ask them if it's okay if the reoccurring date is set up for the 12th every month. Yeah. Yeah, because again, you want to make sure that it's obviously something that they're capable of doing on that date every month. And rarely, because I usually know when it's a good time to do that. And rarely they say no. If they did say no, it's something that I missed earlier in the phone call. Mm-hmm. But I don't do it every single time.
That's good, dude. Yeah, I think that's really solid. I think what I've learned about effective dates and chargebacks and persistency is, like you said, if someone has the money, we should definitely do it right away. Mm-hmm. Because there's no reason to... It's like, would you rip a Band-Aid off slow, or would you rip it off right away as fast as you can? It's like, dude, let's rip off the Band-Aid. Let's get you protected. Get this in place. Call it a day. Yeah. Now, if money's tight and we do got to set up for Social Security billing, then let's do that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's usually my thought process with it.
That's good. Yeah. And so what have you seen, Josh? Like, if I were to ask you, what is Andrew the best at in terms of his presentation, his sales process, what stands out?
Reading the client, I would say, is being able to, like, the psychology of the sale, I would say he's really good at.
So when you're going into dialing, Andrew, what does that look like? Like, what are you picturing? What does the psychology of the sale mean to you?
Yeah, so something that really helped me in the beginning was just picturing every single call I'm going to make be a close. And then when I go in, I kind of get like a little... I don't understand people sometimes when they don't want it, because they literally filled out the request. So we make a big emphasis about it. It's like, okay, I understand that you don't want it if you do get that objection, but you're the one that filled out this request. Are you covered? And if they're not covered, you got to really like rip into that. And yeah, so that's one of the main things. That's what I would say.
Now, when you just aren't having a ton of success, like for example, I know you guys all compete. And I know Noah, he's always competitive. He's like, what are you guys at for the day? Yeah. How many deals do you guys have? Yeah. What's your guys' goal for one another in terms of sales each day?
Yeah, so the standard recently has been minimum 10K weeks, 15K weeks. Yeah. It's raising pretty rapidly. The more guys we get on and the bigger the system gets and the standards get. Another thing that you said was... I forgot what I was going to say, actually.
That's right. So what's your goal every day?
Minimum 2 closes, for sure. Yeah.
And then when you're having, a slower day, a rough day, what is your mentality? Like, what are you telling yourself to keep strong?
So you got to separate feelings from action, and you got to show up even when the results don't show, especially when you have a proven system in place. And when you know what you're doing is the right thing and maybe the results don't show, you just have to keep on doing it and doing it and doing it.
Dude, I really like what you just said. You got to separate feelings from action, because, dude, if I made decisions based on my feelings all the time, oh my gosh. Yeah. I think we'd all be cooked. Mm-hmm. Like even yesterday, dude, like I was feeling like dog water like all day, and I did not want to come in the morning, but I was like, hey, I'll show face. And if I can push myself through the day, then I will. And we got done with our morning prayer, and then I got in my office. I literally couldn't even think straight. I'm like, this is one of those days, bro. I'm going to go home and sleep for like 4 hours, get myself right, and then I'll be back in normal today. Yeah.
I think a big thing with that, too, is not getting too high on the highs and too low on the lows and just staying very stagnant. And you mentioned Josh's tone, and that's one of the big things. It's like when you get an objection, don't freak out. Don't show that you're anxious about getting maybe a social or banking objection. Just stay the same the whole time and just stay consistent because they feel it, they hear it. It's like it's the same as if you're talking to someone. It's just they're even closer to your mouth than if you're actually talking to someone. So they could feel everything. So you just got to stay completely consistent.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so you guys are both brand spanking new into the business. I mean, you've been here for how long, Josh?
5 months full time now, yeah. That's probably insane, almost 6 months, yeah.
And then how about for you, Andrew?
I think it was like 85 days last time I looked at it, so like a little bit less than 3 months.
Nice, you're tracking, bro. 85 days.
Yeah.
14 hours.
It's cool to say it like that.
Yeah. It's like, how old's your kid? 18 months?
Yeah, no,
17, 26 months. I'm like, bro.
Yeah.
He's 2, bro. Just calm down. I'm like 26 months over here, right?
Yeah. This is our baby at this point.
Yeah. It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the key to it too, just dropping everything and making this like your full purpose.
Yeah.
And I feel like you have to align it with your identity as well. Like that, we spend 14 hours at the 14 hours at the office sometimes. And the reason why I succeeded quick, I know why Josh succeeded quick and everyone does, it's like you just have to dedicate everything, drop everything behind, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, you do. You know, it's interesting because, dude, there's two sides of me. There's this side that has the wisdom and the advice to teach you guys how to make all the money. And really it just comes down to whoever out-sacrifices will win.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
That's it. True. But then there's a side of me of where you said put your identity into this thing. And I have done that. But what happens is if you have a bad day, your bank account's not where it should be, or you have people pass you, it diminishes your self-esteem, and then you're playing this game of I'm only worthy when I hit this accolade, and that can be super dangerous to play in.
Yeah.
And so there's two sides of the coin that you have to balance as an entrepreneur. But dude, I think it's been cool, like personally for me, just like my walk of faith has really allowed me to understand, like, dude, regardless if I was the richest man in the world or the poorest man in the world, like God still views me as his son. He views me as a masterpiece, and like that truly resonating in my heart has given me so much peace. And I think I walk in like so much more freedom with it because, dude, it's like if I go up and speak in front of hundreds of people and I mess it up, it's like, so what?
Yeah.
Like God's not going to view me differently. Just the world might, but God doesn't. And then just learning how to only care about his opinion. So like the other week, last week, I had the opportunity to officiate my best friend's wedding. And everyone's asking me, are you nervous? Are you nervous? Are you nervous? And I'd be lying if I said I wasn't. But it was like 5 days before the wedding, I just prayed and I said, God, like, this is going to be all you, dude. I was like, because if I do this on my own opinions and wisdom, I'm going to mess it up. I'm going to say a funny joke that I shouldn't say. That's going to be bad timing when this is a professional speech. So I need you to do this. And dude, most of my prep was just preparing my heart, a lot of prayer, and then just getting in the Bible and asking like God what he knows about love and like what love means to him. And then God just revealed like 2-3 things. And I was like, all right, cool. Like that's what I'll talk about. Went up there, ripped. And everyone's like, dude, you did amazing. You crushed it. And I was like, yeah, because I gave it up to somebody that's never going to fail me. And that was super important because I'm like, when you can give it to someone that's never going to fail you, bro, it's like you get to walk and you don't have this unrealistic amount of pressure on you. Because, dude, I think there's good pressure, but there's pressure that will drive you insane. So just to speak into this a little bit more, there was 12 guys that gathered together that had more money than the whole like treasury of the United States. Those 12 men were tracked, you know, obviously the whole world's watching them. 20 years later, when they all passed away, they reviewed how each man died. Now, these are the wealthiest men in the world. One died of suicide. Another died of, like, he got in bad company. Someone killed him. Another, like, again, took his life. Another did a drug overdose. Like, these horrible ways of ending their life. And I was like, dang. You know, like we'll put these people up on a pedestal and be like the wealth, but they could never figure out how to be content with what they had. So they chased all these things. They attained it all, and they never understood, like, your stomach will never be full if you fill them with these things. And so I think, like, for us now, like, really your identity is going to be in, like, the character you develop. And when you can find, like, your identity in Christ, like, that is the most powerful thing. But yeah, dude, I think for me lately, it's been just interesting because there's really two sides of the coin of, like, all right, I got all this advice on how to get people super wealthy, but at the same time, I know, like, how you'll feel if you don't have God in your life. And so for me, my new walk has been, like, how do I teach people both sides of it? Because, like, I want y'all to run up a bag, and you guys will, you know. But if you can, like, start walking hand in hand with God and just be like, all right, come along with me, like, teach me this. It's like you can make a ton of money, feel fulfilled, and have a lot of purpose.
It's something you feel too. It's like, obviously we sell a lot of insurance, but it doesn't feel like the primary purpose here. Like, it feels like you're actually trying to grow young men to be better, you know?
Yeah,
and
dude.
like, it's insurance is just like secondary. It's just like a byproduct of it.
It
you know?
is. I was telling somebody that the other day. This girl called me last night, and I was telling her, I was like, yeah, like, insurance is, like, when people ask me what my job is, I'm always like, I guess I sell life insurance. I haven't sold a policy I've sold a policy recently, but really haven't sold for 2+ years. But what am I supposed to tell them? I build men.
Yeah.
Like, what is that?
Yeah.
Build men. I'm starting a clothing company. We got a ministry over here. We got a life insurance thing over here. But like you said, dude, it's just like, this is our opportunity of building us up and then building up the next guy.
Yeah.
Okay, so for you guys, I want to end with this. We are 3 months into the year, and it's going really well. I think this is going to be the year that everything changes for your guys' life and a lot of people's lives. Like, especially for the homie that's listening to this right now, and you might have the same feeling that Josh had of, I need to change. Like, I'm telling you, this industry, this company, this team, these guys are the people that can change your life. So, you know, you guys can get a hold of them after this podcast. But I want to know what your guys' goals are.
Oh, man.
So 2026, let's say it's done. It's December 31st. It's the last day of the year. And you guys are all celebrating out in New Jersey. You guys are smoking some cigars together and saying congratulations. What would have to happen for you guys to say you had a successful year?
Oh, my goodness. You want to go first?
Yeah, sure. So, I think for me, there's a few different aspects to it monetarily. I want to deposit at least $300,000. Yeah, and then I just want to be the main goal for myself is just to be in a position that I could be the provider no matter what, and just make sure anyone I love, if they need to relocate and go somewhere, I could easily relocate them. If they need food or clothes, I can easily provide that. It's basically just being as big as a provider as you could possibly be. That's my main goal.
That's solid, dude.
Yeah.
Do you got any goals for your fitness?
Put on weight for sure. I gotta find a balance, honestly, because like if you don't succeed mentally, you cannot succeed in anything else. So like I'm pretty happy, but I'm not like thriving physically like I could. So I gotta lock in for sure.
You still go to the gym, Josh?
I do.
Why don't you guys go together, bro?
Yeah.
Got to, yeah. For me, I travel like 40 minutes, so it's a little different.
Yeah.
But we're trying to make stuff work for sure.
Yeah, bro. You know what I did is I used to do like 20 push-ups every hour.
Yeah.
Literally anytime I'd see the hour change, like call it 11:57, and I'm like, oh shoot, I didn't do push-ups at 11. Boom, boom, boom.
I love that pull-up bar up there. I banged out like 40 yesterday. It was great.
No, it is, dude. Because even doing that, like, you just feel good. You feel juiced. Like, I was talking with Noah, and he's like, yeah, bro, I'm going for 100K this month, like 100K. And you know what's just absolutely insane is the fact that words like that come out of our mouths.
It's crazy.
Like, that's the type of people we're surrounded around. Oh, I'm going for 100K months.
He's 19 years old.
He's 19 years old. I'm 3 months in the business.
Yeah.
Like, what?
That's crazy.
And I was like, well, what's like one of your challenges? What are you facing? And he said, honestly, just the level of intensity that it requires.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, do you think if you took a 15-minute break and you went and just put your phone down, your headset down, you walked outside real quick, you just breathe for a second, and you walk back in, you think that would decrease the likelihood of you hitting it? He's like, no. And I was like, bro, if you're going to hit these goals, you have to learn how to have small pockets of peace. Or if you literally go and do 20 freaking push-ups every hour, bro, you do that, you stay jacked, you'll handle all your stress through the push-ups during the day, and I guarantee you perform better.
Absolutely.
I guarantee it.
Yeah.
You know? So I think that's awesome, bro. What about, because we got the 3 big pillars, finance, fitness. What about your faith? You got any goals? Do you have a relationship with God?
Absolutely, yeah. I wouldn't be able to make it through the hard times. As we talked about before, the hard times create great men. And if I didn't have a relationship with God, I wouldn't make it through all the hard times I've been through. And we said before, you mentioned it earlier today in the meeting, you said when you have such a strong grip on life, you actually have less control. So when you release and just put it into your faith and just let God take the wheel, then he has a plan. Like I've had tons of plans that have failed, and I thought that was the best thing for me. But his plan is above all. And it's always going to be what's best for me. And I may not get what I was looking to get out of this, but it taught me a lesson, or I got a connection that I wouldn't have had before. You know?
Yeah, it's a good way of looking at it, dude.
Like, for example, the reason I'm in this business is because my friend got written a bad policy. So you could look at it and be oh, I got written
it's
a
like
bad.
That's a bad thing on paper. But if that didn't happen, where would you be?
Exactly.
You'd be stuck bell to bell, dude.
I know. Yeah, it sucks. Yeah. So
that's awesome, man. Yeah. What about you, Josh?
My goals or my relationship with God?
Well, let's start with your goals.
My goals. I want to be $1 million producer this year.
Do you really?
Yeah,
You're going for the $1 million?
I am, yeah. I'm a little bit behind right now. I definitely need, but again, I just need to improve throughout the year. I think it's doable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you have to do to be $1 million producer right now? I know you got the numbers calculated.
Yes, I do. So actually, thanks to Noah, because he's good with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I have to average 5 days a week, 4,000 AP.
5 days a week, 4,000 AP. Do you take Saturdays off?
I don't, but like, I feel like Saturdays would be like the makeup day if I miss those. Like, and that's like the extra. Yeah. And then also like considering chargebacks and stuff like that. But like if it was 5 days a week consistently, 4,000 AP.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And are you on track?
I think I'm a little bit behind right now. But it's 100% doable. I'm going to do it.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
And you're just going to get better.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're just going to have more systems. You can get a couple dialers.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, there's plenty of ways to do it.
And when I first, because I wrote down that goal, like that was my goal for the year. But one thing I didn't account for was also building a team. Like that takes a lot of time away from dialing, obviously. And I'm trying to figure out the best way to balance both of those things.
I want to give you an image that stuck with me for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But if we were standing up and there was a $20 bill right here,
mm-hmm.
and then where that camera is, there's 10 cents,
mm-hmm.
would you completely ignore the $20 and then you go and walk and pick up the dime?
No.
You'd probably pick up the 20, right?
Yeah.
Most people step over dollars to pick up pennies, and most people neglect building a team and pouring into their people
mm-hmm.
so they can go and do huge numbers. And so I don't want you to not go and hit your goal,
mm-hmm.
but I want you to think about it like this. Like you go to the gym.
Yeah.
What's the easiest thing for you to get a pump?
Like
you hit it one time and you look juiced. Your arms.
Yeah. Well, yeah, my arms.
Like, bro, if I hit an arm pump right now, my veins will pop out.
Yeah.
And you look good, you feel good.
Yeah, yeah.
But when you go and hit legs, we both know it's not like your legs look big. It's like it was painful, it was uncomfortable, and no one's going to be like, man, your legs look great.
Mm-hmm.
But everyone's like, bro, like your arms are looking good. The girls see them. The homies are like, dang, the homie's big, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's like sales.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone sees your numbers. They see your personal pin. But what people don't want to do is legs,
mm-hmm.
which is recruiting.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to put the heavy-ass bar underneath them. They don't want to get uncomfortable. They don't want to sweat. They don't want to, honestly, like put their ass to grass and get after it.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what building a team really is. And that's when you can pick up the $20 bill.
Okay.
Because when I was asked the question of if I was in a wheelchair, could I pay my bills and could I handle all my obligations, my answer was no.
Mm-hmm.
And that freaked me out, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I don't want to ever feel like that again, especially because we have the opportunity to go and build a company that could make us $100, $200, $500,000 a month that's reoccurring.
Mm-hmm.
And so for you, like, dude, go and chase that, but also understand, like, don't ever step over the $20 to go pick up the 10.
Very true. Yeah.
Because the 10 is all shiny. You could show it around everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll take the 20 every day, bro. I'll take
Very
the 20
true.
every day. I only sold 40, 50, 60K. And, you know, I had some big months here, 87 or whatever. To validate to my team that I could do it, to lead by example, and to have enough cash to fund my business when I needed staff or I needed to try out lead types or get an office space or to take a marketing expense.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I sold.
Mm-hmm.
That was it.
Yeah.
And so for you, dude, I just want you to know, like, go super hard with your personal pen,
Mm-hmm.
but never neglect, the people that are going to be under your influence.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. I like that. Yeah.
Fitness goal, because I know you're in the gym.
Fitness goal.
Maintain?
Honestly, I was in a lot better shape before I came into this business.
Yeah.
I was actually very, very happy with my progress. I used to powerlift. I did powerlifting.
Yeah, I looked at your Instagram, bro.
Yeah.
You're definitely cut. You take good care of yourself.
Yeah. So I think for me, it's going to be getting back to that point and also pushing it a little bit further. And that just comes with being more consistent in the gym again, and diet and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, getting back to where I was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, you've put so much, like, sweat equity in that.
Yeah.
And I think there is a season of, like, you do have to sacrifice some things, but my deal was, like, no matter what, I was going to work out somehow, some way.
Mm-hmm.
So in the beginning of my journey here, I did 20-minute YouTube workouts in my apartment.
Really? Yeah.
Dude, I'd literally just do burpees, air squats, ab stuff, push-ups.
Yeah.
Like shoulder presses with, like, whatever weights I could find.
Yeah.
But dude, I was like, I just want to build, because it's like if you're building an avatar or a character.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought to myself, the one skill set that I would want is the power of consistency.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, I just don't ever want to not be consistent.
100%.
And I think that's done me so well. And I was telling Noah this outside. I was like, dude, right now I'm like, I do one post a day. I show up and work for like 8 hours, sometimes 10, sometimes 12, depending on the day.
Mm-hmm.
I work 5 days a week, but I'm always answering the phone every day. I'm always in the gym. I'm always in the Word, reading my Bible. Mm-hmm. And if I just do that forever, like, because I can do it forever, because I love it, because it's maintainable, how could anyone beat us?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because some people are going to have kids and they're going to be like, well, I did my time, so I'm going to take all this time off. It's like, no, I'm going to build the life I want forever now, and so I can always do it.
Did you always operate at that level of consistency, or is it something that you found?
Dude, so I got notebooks, and I mean, my notebook's right there. One thing about me is I carry a notebook on me everywhere I go.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, for 5 years, I would write down 3 things that moved my needle forward every day. Mm-hmm. And they're always the same. Gym, or like a workout, Bible, and before I knew God, it was like a personal development, like a sales podcast. And then the last one, when I was in the field, was 2 deals a day minimum.
Mm-hmm.
And then I actually changed it to an activity goal, because I couldn't change the result, but I could always be in control of my input. Mm-hmm. So I was like 10 appointments a day. And so if I did those 3 things, then I could rest my head at night knowing that I did everything that I could. Mm-hmm. And dude, that's all I did. Like, I'm not like the most jack guy in the world, but bro, like, you put me on any field, I'm going to be able to play. Mm-hmm. You put me in any type of workout, I'm going to be able to finish it. We did this crazy, like, high rocks CrossFit workout. And, was I first? No, but I was not close to last. I was more like in the middle of the pack. But dude, I finished it, and I hadn't worked out in 4 days. I was coming back from Mexico, and I was like, that's what I want to be able to do. Mm-hmm. Can I pick up heavy shit? Yes. Awesome. Do I look good? Yes. Do I feel good? Yes. Do I eat whatever I want? Pretty much.
That's all you need.
I'm like, that's all I need. Yeah. Because I work out every mother effing day, prioritize good sleep. Every day I show up for the team, which, you know, that takes care of the income. Every day I show up for God, and that fills my soul. So I'm like, I'll just keep doing that.
Faith, fitness, finance.
Done, bro.
That's it.
And it's simple, dude. Simple scales and simple wins. But people don't understand, like, y'all are going to be in this business for like 20 years, if not more. You know? And so I'm like, dude, I'm going to pick a pace that I can run at. Because the first couple years of All-Star, we were never the fastest. We were never the biggest. We were never the baddest out there. Dude, now we're 7 in the company. Dude, and we will move through the ranks.
Yeah.
And God willing, we'll become number 1. And it's not because we're bigger, badder, or better than anyone. It's because every day we chop wood, every day we carry water, and we do it every day.
Yeah. Tell me if I'm wrong, but something I picked up in this business, it's not about who's the best, it's about who could do it for the longest.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's like the strategy. It's like genuinely, it's the strategy. Dude, I've had so many like good people, they're 18 months in, 2 years in, and they just like, they freak out because they've been working so hard and they're like, I can't run at this pace anymore. And I'm like, yeah, but that doesn't mean you need to bow out and quit. You need to understand that you got a lot more to run and you got to change your speed, bro. Unfortunately people quit? Is
that because they set up not a bad system, but they didn't set up the right systems in place early on?
I don't think they had the vision. I don't think people have. I don't think people think. So you can always tell the wisdom of a man by the time horizons he looks in. So does he view life in a day, a week, a month, or years? 5, 10. Now, have you ever met a man that's like talking in 50 years and 100 years? And then the most convicting thing that I ever heard was, have you ever met a man that thinks in terms of eternity? Because the last 4 months of your life, like that, right? Think back to when you were 12, like that. Dude, every single year of our life goes quicker. Faster. One day we'll all be 70, 80, 90 years old and we'll be off this planet, and it's just going to be like that. And then we got a whole nother life to live. And so that's why I'm so adamant about fighting for people's eternity, is because wherever we're headed next, that's where I want to invest. That's where I want to pour my time. That's where I want to take my resources. Because we come into this world naked, we leave this world naked. The only thing that I can take with me is the word of God, and also the people that I introduced to Christ. And so I'm like, cool, I want to take as many as the homies to the top with me then. So it's like, that's why I'm so adamant about my faith, and just being like, dude, like, this has been my walk. Like, this has been my journey. I've struggled with it a ton. I've had plenty of questions, but like, here's what I've learned. And so that's been cool for me to always, like, dude, I was sitting down with this 85-year-old guy the other day, and I was so sad because, dude, he just missed the whole point. He missed the whole point of life.
Yeah.
And he was just talking about, like, just go have fun and all. I'm like, no. Like, dude, like, yeah, I get it. Like, go have fun. But that's not the point of life, bro. Like, you could just tell this guy never found his purpose.
Yeah.
And I was just like, God bless him, man.
It's sad because you only have one try.
Only one try, dude.
Yeah, and you can't rewind time either.
Yeah, he was a couple beers deep, and I'm like, you could just tell he's just fading away into his last days. And I was just like,
yeah,
like, God, like, I'm so thankful that you gave me the ability to see.
Yeah. You know? It's also why I respect so much what you've built, because if you look at 6 years, 6 years is nothing compared to most people work their lives until they're 65, 70. Like, we talk to them every day. It's sad situations they're in. To see what you've been able to build in 6 years, it's crazy stuff.
Yeah, dude, it's thanks to guys like you, bro. Honestly, it's thanks to guys like you, for real, because it's such a collective effort. Like, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And, you know, I think one of the best lessons I've ever learned in my whole life, man, is Sean Mike says it. It says, if you want to have a big business, you got to have a small ego. And if you got a small business, that's because you got a big fat ego, bro. And it says the same thing in the Bible. The one that exalts himself will be humbled. So exalt means to lift up, to raise up. So if you raise yourself up above others, above things, above God, you will just get humbled. And vice versa. If you can humble yourself, then God will raise you up. And I think, you know, what's been nice is like, dude, I grew up an addict. I had divorced parents. I had a lot of insecurities as a kid. And when I got in this business, I was just so eager and willing to learn from people that had walked it before. And I've never walked in a room and thought for a second I was better than anybody. And I've also viewed like everyone puts their pants on the same way. So if there's a guy or girl that's gone out and done something, then all I have to do is listen to them and follow the exact steps, and I can have the exact result. Okay, it took you 15 years to become, call it 100 million. Have it, like, you know who Patrick Bet-David is?
Of course.
Dude, I love him, bro.
He's great.
Like, but you can follow his track record. What did he do? He did YouTube. He started interviewing these folks. He built an insurance company. He went to I can't remember what school, a Harvard MBA. So he went to business schools. He bought coaching. He did all these plays. So I'm thinking to myself, if I want to build my life like his, which is an admirable life, what do I need to do? Follow along. But that's a humble approach. Or you can be a prideful person and say, well, I'm going to do it this way, this way, this way. You don't get the same result. Same thing in business. They can see what you're doing or what you're doing and go, yeah, that's great, but I'm going to do it this way. Or I'm going to change a couple things about that. And it's like, why don't you just do exactly what's working? You guys are just standing on the shoulder of giants. That's what I did. You know?
That's why people are finding success so quick now, is because you don't, like you said, you didn't have a system in place. You didn't have the leads we have. Now we have a system in place that success is proven over and over and over again. You just have to do what's in front of you.
That's it, dude.
You don't even have to think. It's
copy and paste.
Yeah,
bro.
that's it.
It's been like that since, I mean, we got in, it was a little different, but now it's just tightened up.
It keeps getting better and better.
Yeah. Well, cool, dude. And then last question, since I didn't hit you with it, Josh, where are you at with your walk with God?
Right now, I think if we're gonna tie it in with like my goal for the end of the year, I grew up religious. Like my family is very, very religious.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. I have a big family too. I have 8 kids.
Dang. Plus you, or 8 including?
8 including. Yeah.
Nice.
So,
Catholic?
No, Christian. Yeah. I grew up going to church, and then once I got to high school, I think I kind of like veered away from going to church. But like I've always had the belief in God. Like I always believe in God, but I think now I still really need to like work on obviously being consistent going to church and just like getting to know God a little bit more. And also I do really want to read the Bible more.
Dude, I'll tell you something, bro. Unfortunately, God does not dwell in a lot of churches nowadays.
That's also, I'm glad you brought that up too.
A lot of bad churches.
Yeah.
We talked last night about that.
Yeah, remember? We did. And like I've always learned to not base a religion off of the people in it, because no one's perfect, obviously. But like my experience in churches, I feel like is most of the time it's always not very genuine. I feel like there's always like a facade put on, and that kind of turned me off to churches for a long time.
Dude, I didn't go to church for years, bro.
Yeah.
And I had a really deep relationship with God, but my disciple, like the guy that mentored me, he said, he was like, look, Wiley, he's like, I don't care if I'm a preacher, pastor, the most holy person you've ever met. He's like, you take their word and you review it with God's word, the Bible. And he's like, that's when you know what's fact or fiction. Okay. He's like, that's when you know when it's a truth or it's a lie. And so I love that advice, because I spent a lot of time in the Bible. I committed to reading a chapter a day. And that was the most profitable thing I've ever done in my life.
Yeah.
The most profitable thing I've ever done in my life.
Yeah,
was read a chapter a day.
Yeah. Yeah, because you tie in your business with scripture from the Bible.
Yeah. Dude, Solomon, he's a G, bro. He had all the money in the world. He writes Proverbs. He gives great advice in Proverbs. So there's so much you can take. There's life advice, business advice, of course, faith. But everything applies back then to our lives today, which is just so amazing. That always blows me away. I'm like, wow, I can't believe it still applies now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, dude, I'm super thankful for you guys. I know you guys are going to be able to go out and hit your goals because I've seen how the way you work. I see the way you guys carry yourselves, and you guys just have a heart to serve, and that's the type of heart that gets you to go really far. So December 31st, man.
Let's do it.
We'll get you guys back down, and we'll be looking at, you know, the goals that you guys hit. But if someone wants to get a hold of you and they want to work with you, what's the best way to contact you? Instagram, phone number, whatever you guys want to put out there.
Instagram, it's Josh C and then Gaynor, Gaynor. That's my Instagram, Josh C. Gaynor.
Yeah, and then for me, Instagram, Andrew.Diaz_. So
perfect.
Yes,
well, you heard it here first, folks. Guys, thanks for listening in. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.